Did you figure out where to stand?
I did, yeah. It was fun to watch. It was good to see. Great to get onto the field and you know, it's like you sort of push the ship into the water and now we're going somewhere.
And it was raining today.
Didn't even notice.
Does it practicing indoors at all affect? Obviously, it was raining today, but does it affect anything? Is it sometimes better being outside, or just the idea of being inside versus?
No, I mean, you know, we're blessed with a great facility, and we have the opportunity to use it, and no, we can play football in here the same way we can anywhere.
Any update on Tate Martell's status?
We're not keeping secrets. When we know, you'll know.
How important is that to you, that decision?
Well, we'll see. But right now, the focus is on getting everyone in the locker room as good as they can be.
But only having, I guess, 2 scholarship guys here now, is that a little bit, you know?
Well, there'll be 3, right? Tate, Nikosi, and Jaron.
Right.
With Peyton coming in the fall, so we'll have 4 in the fall.
Yeah.
No, but right now we're just competing. We're learning an offense. We're learning how to defend this offense. We're learning how to practice, how to play, and that's really what we're concerned about.
No doubt you're a very intense guy and you stayed jacked up. How was it, your first spring practice and your temperament with you guys?
Well, it's our first spring practice, but no matter what, you're still day one. You're just in helmets, right? So what today is it's a full speed walkthrough, because there's no, football is still blocking and tackling and that type of stuff. So I know the energy will reach a different level on Friday when we put the shoulder pads on for the first time. But for today, it's still fun. What was impressive today was watching our coaching staff coach on both sides of the ball. Coach Baker and the guys over there on the defense side of the ball, Coach Enos and his guys on the offense side of the ball, their energy, their passion, their knowledge, and the way that they made corrections. I imagine our team is in the locker room right now, and they're fully aware of what's going on. What we have done today is what we wanted to do, is that we have knocked everyone out of their comfort zone, which is ideally what we wanted, and there's not a guy on this field that's got it all figured out, and that's part of what we think is going to make us better.
When you got up with you guys, you talked about spreading what you guys did on defense and the offense. We saw some times with Coach Enos sort of chewing out his quarterback, senior coach, Stubblefield kind of getting those guys, making them drop and giving push-ups. Is that all part of that too? Is sort of spreading that sort of attitude of perfection?
Well, what we talk about is just a standard, right? We're holding these guys to an extraordinarily high standard, but those are the type of men that those coaches are, and they ask them all the time. Again, do you want to be great? And some of our guys will respond to that, and some of our guys, to be honest, they just might be in the wrong place. But if we're going to be Miami, if we're going to win the games we're supposed to win, we have to hold our guys to that standard, and that's all that's going on right now.
Speaking of a new standard, everybody kept talking about it.
Either way.
Speaking of that standard, all the players were talking about this new Miami. Just express to us the best way you can. What's this new Miami that all the players are talking about that you keep beating into them?
Well, outside this building, I think everyone feels the energy. Everyone feels the passion of what's going on. But inside this building, I think it is summed up by the Miami standard. And that's really what it's about. And that's a tangible thing. That is it's a measurable thing that we can hold our guys in account for every day. And that's what's been real here since we came back in January in the weight room, out here in the off-season programs, and today in practice 1.
When you woke up this morning and drove over here, was it any different than the other 2.5 months in this job? Or was it more excitement, or was it just coming into another day in the office?
It was raining. Honestly, you're always excited the first day of practice, right? Because you finally get to be a football coach. We do a lot of things other than coach football, and today there was a football team out there, and we got to coach them. So that part was super exciting. The fact of coming in as a head coach, that just adds a little bit of more excitement. But I think there's not a guy on our staff that wasn't, jumping out of bed this morning to get here.
What number of former players here? What was that like? Did any of them trust the team?
We didn't have the guys that trust the team today. We had to kind of run off the class, but it's great seeing those guys. A lot of those guys, it's their first time being in this facility, and it's great for them to see that. And a lot of them, we have some guys here that actually put their hard-earned to this facility. So for them to see our team practice in here is a great reward for them. The more of those guys are around, the better. That's a big part of trying to tie our guys to the tradition here in the past. Is seeing the great ones and some of the ones whose names are hanging up in the rafters here, and to have those guys on our sidelines, big to our younger players.
How much did it mean to you to have them here for your first day?
You know, it's pretty cool. Some of the guys we didn't know were coming, so you kind of look over there and you're like, well, how about that? You know, so it's great because, again, and I've said this many times, the University of Miami's football program belongs to its football alumni. Those are the guys that made this program great. There's been coaches that have come and gone, and so we want those guys to feel the ownership in this program.
Manny, I didn't see Zach. Was he there? Zach McLeod, did he practice today?
He's around. He's just limited with his hand.
And guys in that group who might not be able to do a ton this spring. Lingard in that group. Who else might be limited this spring?
Yeah, he would be in that group. It's a pretty small group.
Cleveland?
Brian Palindi is still limited, and that should be it. Cleveland's out there. Yeah.
Two more guys.
With
sounds like there's a lot more,
Both you guys.
a lot more going on offensively in the new system. How does that help the defense to be more challenged in certain ways mentally and things like that?
Well, yeah, because we're seeing, all the things. Remember when I first talked about, even before we had an offense coordinator named, we want an offense that is hard to defend. The same way we want to have a defense that is hard to attack for an offense. And so they're doing many things that defenses don't like to see. And they're making defensive football players make decisions. And when we self-evaluated ourselves a year ago, when we were put in that position, we didn't always respond very well defensively. So the fact that we're getting this out here for 15 days in spring and then for the 29 days of practice during training camp, it's going to make our defense better. But more than anything, just a competitive nature and just getting competitive excellence into both sides of the ball, where we can come out here and have a iron sharpens iron, kind of mindset, will make our entire football team better.
Manny, wanted to ask you about your thinking, you and Butch and Dan thinking an offensive tackle right now. I think some might have thought Tommy Kennedy would come in, play and plug starter, but we saw DJ Scaife on the left side today, Campbell on the right. Do you view it as a competition among those three? I know promises are typically not made to grad transfers, but just thoughts on those three in that position.
Well, we don't promise anybody anything except for nice weather and a chance to get a great degree. But no, in all seriousness, today's day one in just helmets. The most what we told all of our guys is that we were going to set our depth charts and make our sort of our characterizations on what they can do off of what they're done in an off-season program. Now today we played football, but we really didn't play football because we don't have pads on. So we'll make some assessments out of today. We'll do the same thing when we come back tomorrow. And then we're really getting to Friday. We'll see. We're, as I mentioned all along, we're really not concerned about who's first and who's second, in March. But we do want to come out of April, at least finding out what our guys can do. And then as we go through the summer, we have a chance to put a team in the right positions to have our guys do what they are actually capable of doing.